Hi. I think I'm live. When you think about self-care and looking after your own well-being, there are probably quite a lot of things on your wish list, even if you don't actually get round to doing them all. Skincare, exercise, taking regular breaks from the computer, eating healthily. The list goes on, doesn't it? But do you ever think about looking after your bones? Honestly, I'm really willing to guess you probably don't. I certainly never did. At least not until I had to. Over the next few days, I'm going to share some of the key things that I've learned over the past year about how thinking about your bones for just a few minutes each day could turn out to be one of the most important things you do to support your body into an active and vibrant older age, however far away that feels at the moment. What I'm going to share is particularly important and relevant if you're experiencing perimenopause at the moment, if that's something you expect to do in the future, or if you've recently or not so recently been through the menopause yourself. The bottom line is that I really wish that somebody had told me the things that I want to share with you in these videos 10, 15, even 20 years ago, because it might have made a difference. So, in case you don't know me, I'm Helen Davis. I'm the founder of One Step Forward, and I'm in my mid-50s. That's relevant. In early 2022, I had a frankly ridiculous accident at home in which I managed to break both my wrists. Luckily, I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, which isn't what I'm talking about today. But it did mean that I had plenty of tips and techniques at my fingertips, even when they were almost encased in plaster casts, to help ensure that my healing was swift and complete. And it's just over a year ago, and as you can see, my wrists are pretty effective these days. And I thought that was the end of the story, but in fact, it turned out to be just the beginning. Being a woman in my 50s, who had broken a bone, or in my case two, I was routinely sent for a DEXA, or bone mineral density scan, which I genuinely thought was going to be a formality. As well as being a hypnotherapist, I was also a yoga teacher. I ate really healthily. I walked every day. I genuinely thought it was a formality. In fact, however, the scan results showed that I was diagnosed with osteoporosis at 56. And the fact is that was way more traumatic than breaking my wrists. However, even as I was being told it's not possible to build bone or rebuild bone at this stage in life, even as I was being told about all the risks that I was now running and had been running in the past to get me to this place, and even as I was told these are the drugs we recommend to treat this disease, I prefer to think of it as a condition, I started realizing that I wanted to know what other options were out there. So I dried my tears, literally, not metaphorically, and I started doing some research. Now, it's important to stress that I'm no expert. I have no medical training. So everything I'm going to share with you in these videos is my understanding based on my own research. And what I'm really encouraging you to do is to do your own research. However, there is one particular thing that I will be talking to you about, which I can definitely tell you about, which is one way that I have discovered to help build the strength and resilience in my body that I believe will help support my bones for the next several decades, multiple decades of my life. And we'll come back to that later on. But first of all, I just wanted to introduce myself and let you know that I'm going to be here every evening at some point this week and talking about all the things that I've learned over the last year and sharing facts and information about the things that you can do to reduce your risk if it's already in place, not only of osteoporosis itself, but also even more importantly, your risk of falling and breaking a bone. Because if you don't fall, you're much less likely to break anything. Anyway, tomorrow I'm going to start by explaining what bone density is and why it matters. So what's actually going on in our bones, just to set the scene. So thank you for watching. I really hope you'll come back tomorrow. And if you've got any questions, drop me a DM, comment below this video. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Take care.